Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, what is the impact of President Trump's attacks on the judiciary? And local charities compete for cash and resources in a fast pitch contest. Those stories next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. FBI Director James Comey confirmed today that the Bureau is investigating possible collusion between Russian intelligence officials and aides and associates of President Trump. Comey confirmed the investigation during a hearing today of the House Intelligence Committee. The hearing also included the FBI director and the head of the National Security Agency, both unequivocally dismissing President Trump's claim that he had been the target of eavesdropping ordered by former President Barack Obama. And confirmation hearings began today for U.S. Supreme Court nominee Neil Gorsuch. Arizona Senator Jeff Flake delivered opening remarks supporting the nominee, and after the hearing spoke about the importance of having someone like Gorsuch, who hails from the West, on the high court.
When you have states like Arizona where 85% of the land is owned by the public, either the federal government, which is about half of the land in Arizona, or state land or tribal land, then decisions made by the federal government and the regulators have an outsized impact on the state and on our ability to earn a living, particularly in rural areas. And I think judges from the West have a better understanding of that, and certainly Judge Gorsuch does. So I think that it helps to have a little geographic diversity and not just have judges from New York or New Jersey.
The Senate hearing could go on as long as 4 days. President Trump has described the legal system as, quote, so broken, so dangerous, with judges making, quote, disgraceful decisions that put the country in peril. What is the impact of the president repeatedly attacking the judiciary? Joining us now is attorney Mark Harrison of Osborne Maladon. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Ted.
When you hear these attacks on the judiciary, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are that the president really doesn't understand what the role of judges is in our society, or how important the judiciary is to our democratic values and democratic institutions.
Do you think that, does he have a general idea, or is he basically does he basically think that what he says goes and everyone else, including the judiciary, has to fall in line?
Well, it appears that way. I mean, it's what he's doing is unprecedented, because historically, presidents have often criticized the decisions of the courts. They've never personalized and demonized and delegitimized the courts as Mr. Trump is doing.
Indeed, and again, our legal system is so broken, so dangerous. He referred to a so-called judge putting the country in peril, disgraceful decisions. Does he think that saying this will sway judges? I mean, I don't want you to speak for him, but do you think he thinks that?
Well, if he does, he's sadly mistaken, because he obviously doesn't understand that the federal judiciary is what stands between an unchecked executive or an unchecked legislature and the constitutional rights of all of us. For overreach from corporations, overreach from the government, overreach from others.
Does he think perhaps that you can bargain with judges?
He appears to think that you can negotiate with the courts, which again reflects a basic misunderstanding about the role of courts. Courts are independent. They're ostensibly impartial, and most judges try very hard to be impartial. And my sense is that it's going to backfire, because the more he trashes the courts, the more strongly judges will feel that it's incumbent upon them to protect the rights of people against overreach by government.
Indeed, and this Ninth Circuit opinion here recently, the dissenting opinion, the judge that actually agreed with Trump on the case, wrote in his opinion that personal tax, these kinds of personal tax, are out of bounds of civic and persuasive discourse. This again from a guy who agreed with. Could this backfire? I mean, could judges that could, I mean, they shouldn't backfire, but could it?
Well, I think, Judge Bybee, who you just quoted from the Ninth Circuit dissent, makes it clear that you cannot try to, he's used to getting his way. And my sense is that he thinks he can intimidate judges into doing what he wants them to do. That's not the way courts work.
Yes.
And I think he's finding that out. And the question is whether anybody's going to help educate him to understand that you deal with the courts responsibly. Sometimes they render decisions you like, sometimes they render decisions you don't like. But if you don't like it, you appeal to the next, you go to the next step.
Yeah, there is a process.
There is a process.
Well, but this idea of intimidation is interesting because it's obvious, I think, that he thinks that he can do this, that he can intimidate judges. Can you intimidate judges?
Well, theoretically, I suppose it's possible, particularly in a system where judges are elected. There is evidence that judges are influenced by popular opinion. But federal judges have life tenure under Article 3 of the Constitution. And so they're not going to be intimidated into worrying about their jobs because of what he does. In fact, as I suggest, and as Judge Bybee indicates in his dissent, my guess is that in his attempt to intimidate judges, he's going to increase their sense of the importance of being independent.
Compare this to President Obama, who had some harsh things to say regarding the Citizens United opinion from the U.S. Supreme Court. From Richard Nixon, who was just famously just upset with the court. Lyndon Johnson was upset. Almost every president in some way, shape, or form has got a problem with the courts. Compare their concerns with what you're hearing from the current president.
Well, as I say, this is unprecedented. This goes all the way back to Trump's hero, Stonewall Jackson, who had a lot of problems with the courts. Nixon, Johnson, and President Obama all had problems with the decisions of the courts. But they never used that as an excuse to personalize their antagonism toward the courts, to try to intimidate the courts. They understood the process. He obviously doesn't understand the process. And unless and until he does, we're going to have this kind of nonsense, this kind of, and the worst part of it is that what he's doing undermines a basic component of our democracy. There are 3 branches to government. The court has the last say when it comes to determining the constitutionality of situations, and he doesn't seem to understand
I was
that.
going to say judicial supremacy in constitutional matters. I mean, that's kind of something you get in high school civics or even earlier, certainly later. I mean, he's got to understand. So if he doesn't, someone in that administration has to understand that. It just seems like gamesmanship to me.
Well, it's very dangerous gamesmanship because, as you point out, you would expect people on his staff who are well-trained lawyers to be able to say to him, President Trump, this is not the way to deal with judicial decisions, and it's going to be counterproductive. And most important, it undermines a basic democratic institution. It delegitimizes the courts in the eyes of the average member of the public who thinks you can do this, and you can't.
I was going to say the average member of the public. Does the average person out there understand, or are they saying, he's right, he should go after these judges, they're wrong, if they're wrong, why shouldn't he attack them?
Well, I suspect that's part of his game. I mean, part of his game is he's done this with every other, he's done this with Congress, he's done this with the court, and I think he is appealing to his base, which I think he hopes doesn't understand the essential nature and purpose of the court and the independence of the court as a basic component of our democracy. And, you know, I think you suggested earlier, I think it's going to backfire because I think most responsible citizens understand that we have to have an independent judiciary or our system isn't going to work.
Someone's got to keep tabs on what's happening regarding the Constitution.
Exactly.
All right, so general impact on the country, on the rule of law from this kind of verbiage.
Well, I don't want to repeat myself, but
go ahead
but
if you
I
have
will
to.
repeat myself. I mean, you can't help but think that the effect of this kind of destructive talk, these kinds of tweets, calling judges so-called judges. He even referred to Chief Justice Roberts as a disaster in connection with his decision in the Affordable Care Act. I mean, these kinds of tweets and these kinds of characterizations clearly are destructive and undermine the role of courts in our society.
And yet, I can hear people saying, why should it be destructive? Why can't he state his opinion, and if you agree with it, great. If you don't agree with it, not so great. But who cares? I mean, it seems like when it comes to reporters, when it comes to dealing with our allies, our quote-unquote allies, when it comes to dealing with those we didn't think were our allies, like Russia and others, he's changing the paradigm. Everything has changed. Why not relationship with the courts? Why can't that change?
Well, one thing that hasn't been mentioned, which is very important in the context of this discussion, is the fact that judges can't respond. Judges can't defend themselves. Under the Code of Judicial Conduct, they're precluded from responding in kind. Otherwise, as Justice O'Connor said, judges are not politicians in black robes, no matter how much Donald Trump tries to make them. And the fact that they can't respond to this kind of vicious characterization is very significant for people to understand. Once they start responding the way he's attacking them,
they become everything that he says they are.
Precisely.
Are you optimistic regarding this administration and the relationship with the courts?
Well, I'm not very optimistic about this administration on any level, quite frankly, but I don't want my politics to govern this conversation. I mean, I think that you raised the point a moment ago about, aren't there people on his staff who understand the problems associated with this kind of conduct? One would think so, but I'm not sure he's governable. I'm not sure that he's, subject to education when it comes to this sort of thing. As you said, this is something he should have learned in the 7th grade civics class, and I wish he had taken a course in constitutional law, but he hasn't. And if he has and understands it, that makes it even worse, because then it's consciously disregarding the role of courts.
All right, well, we'll see where we'll go from here. It's good to have you. Good conversation. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Ted.
And coming up on Arizona Horizon, hear about a way for nonprofits to win up to $20,000 in just 3 minutes.
Hi, I'm Paula Kirker, president of PBS, and I'd like to personally thank you if you've made a contribution to Arizona PBS. You know, when you fund your favorite shows on this station, you're ensuring great television continues to be available for yourself, your family, and everyone in your community. One of the easiest ways to do that is by making a monthly contribution on an ongoing basis, what we call sustaining membership. When you call, tell us how much you'd like to donate each month. Our current sustainers tell us that $10, $15, or $20 a month is best for them, but you decide what works for you. After you've made that call, we will deduct that amount each month from your credit card or your bank account, and we will continue until you tell us otherwise. Your membership will always remain current, and renewal notices will become a thing of the past. Best of all, your ongoing support means that the best television on television will continue to come your way every single day of the year. So please, consider a sustaining contribution today. Thank you for your support of this PBS station.
A fast pitch competition will be held for local nonprofits next week at the Scottsdale Center for the Performing Arts. Participating groups will give a 3-minute pitch in front of a live audience to compete for cash, mentoring, and communication building training. For more on all this, we welcome Terry Wogan-Calderon, Executive Director of Social Venture Partners Arizona, a group that brings a venture capital approach to supporting nonprofits, and Christy Roschke, Executive Director of Spot 127, the top winner of Fast Pitch 2014. Good to have you both here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, Fast Pitch competition for nonprofits. Explain all this.
Well, we have a 2-month intense training for nonprofits, which I call messaging boot camp. They're assigned mentors and they get to practice and perfect their message as to how they're making an impact in the community.
And again, this is a 3-minute pitch in front of a live audience.
Yes. It culminates with a live pitch.
What happens beforehand?
Well, we select 25 nonprofits to go through this 2-month training program, and then 7 nonprofit finalists are selected to present live on stage in front of a live audience. Have about 600-700 people there, and they give their 3-minute pitches. And then the audience can vote as to who was their favorite.
Goodness. Okay, so the audience decides.
They provide
input.
Input
Okay.
on one of the awards, which is a $2,500 award. There's a $10,000 community judge award. We have 8 judges from the community who will be hearing the pitches for the very first time, and they select the one they think is scalable, has impact, and moved them. And then we have several other awards, and our top award is the SVP Award, $25,000 for up to 3 years. And that is who we select as our next investment.
Now, Spot 127, I think, won this back in 2014. Now, this was before I think you were with Spot 127.
That's correct. My predecessor did the big part.
All right. Well, the big part. Can you? What are you hearing about the pitch? How the pitch was received, and these sorts of things? I mean, this was a big deal for this. Stop.
Yep.
First question. What is Spot 127?
Well, thanks for asking. Spot 127 is KJZZ News' youth media center. So we provide free after-school programming and low-cost summer programs for teens interested in digital media that may not otherwise have access to tools and technology like we can provide.
Interesting. Now, would that be part of a 3-minute pitch?
It was part of the 3-minute pitch. And in fact, what my predecessor pitched was, at the time we were about 2 years old, going into our 3rd year in the West Valley in Maryvale, and we had had a lot of interest from folks all over the valley. And so my predecessor pitched the idea for opening a second location in the East Valley.
And when these folks pitch these kinds of things,
Yes.
a little bit of showbiz involved, a little bit of a song and a dance kind of thing?
Well, we asked them to look at what their business proposition is. What's your value? How are you different? What's unique? Who else is doing the work that you're doing? Is it scalable? And what kind of impact and who are you going to serve?
Now, the folks at Spot, were they surprised that they got all that? I mean, this is a pretty big award here.
Yeah, it was a game changer, because for us what it did is it laid the foundation for this capital campaign that allowed us to raise the money to build a second location. And yes, they were elated. I mean, I've seen Greg's pitch. I know I've been through the process now I've seen the actual show, and it's a big deal. So we were so thankful.
Now, again, you talk about winnowing folks down to a certain number, and then even further a certain number. Who decides on that?
We have different folks. The big award is selected by Social Venture Partners, a selection committee who has read all the applications, attended all the practice sessions, brought the participants in for interviews, and they make the selection of the top winner.
Has there ever been a concern that a really good idea got lost in a really bad pitch?
Oh, absolutely. And we just keep working. We encourage them, if they did not make the finals, to come back and try again, go through it again. And we actually have a contestant or participant this year who is coming back for the 2nd time and has made it into the finals to share her idea. So it does happen.
So essentially, I mean, I could come out there with the TED idea, which is just a bunch of baloney. But if my pitch works and I can convince people that it's not such a bunch of baloney, I could win. But someone who's really got something sharp, they got to keep coming back and trying.
Well, you also have 600 people who are in the audience. And so they are all going to have their own opinions. And I can tell you, when I go to other pitch competitions, I have not picked the winner yet.
Okay.
And so you have a lot of opportunity. They all have booths that evening, so you can learn about all of them, and people can invest and volunteer, get on the boards of lots of different organizations.
You figure with 600 people, they'll spot the
Yes.
baloney pretty relatively
Yes.
quickly. I have no
And
shot.
people are pretty smart,
Yeah,
too.
you're telling me I have no shot. Now, as far as Spot 127, talk about how this is launched, where you're at now, what the future looks like.
Absolutely. So we just opened our second location. That was, again, the basis of our pitch in 2014. We opened in January. And in addition to the money, I mean, the great thing about Social Venture Partners is that there's all this additional there's mentoring and support and networking opportunities. So since I've been with the organization, I've been able to benefit from that. And so it wasn't just about the money, it's about the organization as a whole. So
for something like this, what kind of mentoring works? What helped Spot 127?
Well, I have 2 lead partners through SVP, and they bring business perspective to a nonprofit organization. So they provide me all kinds of great advice in terms of scaling and marketing and kind of everything in between. And so they've been very supportive to me as I've been opening the second location, and we're nearly doubling the number of students that we can serve.
And I guess you kind of tailor that mentoring to the specific organization. Or the
Yes,
group.
we do. We work shoulder to shoulder with the organization. We learn what kind of gap areas they have, especially in the capacity of their organization, and that's where we put our time and energy.
How did all of this get started? This idea of standing in front of a bunch of folks and for 3 minutes just putting on whatever you can to get them to convince them that what you got's something?
Well, I think venture capital folks have been doing pitch competitions
That's true.
for a long time.
In elevators and all sorts
Exactly.
of things, yeah.
And we hear that from nonprofits all the time. We don't know how to get our message across. And so one of our affiliates in Los Angeles had this idea of putting it with the nonprofits. And we took that idea. We believe in, recycling good ideas.
Yes.
And so we brought it to Phoenix.
How long has it been in Phoenix now?
This is our 7th year.
7th year. Now, previous winners, are you seeing them growing? Are you seeing them getting out there?
Yes, we are. Our very first winner was Feeding Matters. They were called Popsicle when we selected them. And through their work with SVP over 5 years, we helped rebrand, remarket, change their name, and they came to us with about a $300,000 budget, and they're now well over $1 million.
Oh, wow. This is a good success story.
Mm-hmm.
So, if someone comes to you and says, I'm involved in this pitch thing,
mm-hmm.
and I know you guys won, what would you what kind of advice would you give them, just in terms of getting the message across as quickly, as succinctly, as articulately as possible?
Well, I think it starts with knowing what you need and having a very specific need, and that makes it easier to convey in 3 minutes, right? You can't just be like, just give me money.
Yeah.
You need a really good nugget of an idea, and then as Terry said, that you get that support to refine that over the 2-month time period.
And practice, rehearse,
Yeah.
make sure you know what you're doing, right?
Practice.
All right, so when is this big event going to be? Again, next week?
March 28th, Tuesday, Scottsdale Center for the Performing Arts. Doors open at 5:30, pitches start at 6.
All right, well, good luck to all involved. It sounds like quite a success story.
Thank
It's
you.
really gained, and congratulations to your group as well.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
We want to hear from you. Submit your questions, comments, and concerns via email at arizonahorizon@asu.edu.
Inmates at the state prison in Florence are training wild horses for adoption, but the horses are training the inmates just as much. Producer Chloe Ranshaw has the story.
We get out here at 6 o'clock every morning, and then we come out here. We feed. We do all our first thing that we got to do is our chores out here, because that's the main, the most important thing with our animals.
In the actual functional sense, every inmate, when they come out, they start cleaning stalls, feeding. Nobody ever advances beyond having the responsibility to clean stalls. So you don't ever get better than that. And I think that just kind of, the ground's kind of level right there. Everybody does that. In a general sense, what's expected of inmates when they come into the program is that they're willing to learn and willing to work.
But we got a pretty busy schedule out here, and the good thing about it is when we're out here, it's a whole different world from being in there. We get to actually come out here and that we have a purpose out here.
What we do is they progress from there to their ability in training, their ability in understanding the horse, and their ability in understanding the process.
This is my horse Tonto. He's a little cantankerous sometimes. He's got his own little personality.
I like every inmate to have a couple horses that they're working with, and a couple of different stages, so they may be finishing one and starting another.
Come here, feller. The first horse that I trained, it was hard letting go, but then you realize that that's what our job is.
It's almost impossible to not have an element of bonding there.
And the most important thing with these animals is taking care of them. That's a big thing. Because they're in these pens, they can't take care of them themselves, and they rely on us.
They really have to make a commitment to the horse or the burro, and the relationship, if you will, really starts developing there. By the time they've trained a horse, they start associating those things. Here's a horse that came out of the wild, is not going to survive in this new world, if you will, unless that horse can make some choices and make some changes.
With these horses, they come out of the wild and stuff, and they're used to living a whole different set of rules, And it really relates to us because we go through our life sometimes trying to live by two sets of rules, and you can't really do that. You look back on just how much I have wasted, and I don't have that much time to waste anymore, I've got kids out there that depend on me. I've got grandkids.
The guys may not leave here and become horse trainers, but if they leave here with a work ethic and they leave here teachable, and they leave here with integrity, they're well on their way.
As unfortunate as it may seem, coming to prison and stuff like that, this has probably been one of the better things that's happened to me in my life. You know, it just made me realize that there's still so much out there, you know.
If I have to choose between you leaving with the ability to have a good job or you leave here with good character, I would always choose good character over having the ability to get a good job, because good character will get you a lot of places. Intent is to get as many horses adopted out as we can, find good homes for them, whether that's individuals, trail riding horses, that's the primary function or primary adopter. Ranchers adopt quite a few, and of course Border Patrol adopts them as well. We have a few inmates that have gotten out that have the horse that they trained here.
He's my buddy. He gets to go home with me. They say a horse is a mirror image of their trainer, so I'm pretty fortunate, you know.
Head instructor Randy Helms says that in the past 5 years, only 2 inmates have been reincarcerated after completing the program. Tuesday on Arizona Horizon, how to avoid being a victim of email attacks by foreign hackers. And there's a new locally developed test for Lyme disease that could mean a quicker and more accurate diagnosis. That's at 5:30 and 10 right here on the next Arizona Horizon. That is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your PBS station. Thank you.